What's good, family? You're back with Grown Man Bars, the best hip-hop show for adults in America, where white people clap on 1 and 3. While you're here, treat the like and subscribe buttons like they're sinners and lay hands on them. Amen. We are also live everywhere you get your podcasts, so check us out on Spotify, Amazon, Apple Music, and other places you get podcasts that I don't know about. I'm your man, Can't Get Right, and with me as always is a man so bad he can kill 2 stones with 1 bird. B.A. What's Buzzin' Cousin.
What's good, family? How's everybody doing? What's good? What's good, fam?
Always good to be back in Willie's Barbershop. Tonight, we wanted to talk about some underrated rap legends from the 90s. There was so much good hip-hop in the 90s that it was really easy to overlook some really amazing rappers that accomplished a lot, that were just a lot of fun to listen to, that were just good artists to begin with. So B.A., we flipped the coin backstage, as far as y'all know, and B.A. won. So B.A., talk to me, man. What is the first underrated rapper on your list from the 90s?
I'm going to go a different route. I mean, yes, it's the 90s, but I'm not going to go with an artist per se. I'm going to go with a group that I just feel like just did not get the love I personally feel they deserve. Man, and that group is none other than Camp Lo. If you ever heard Uptown Saturday Night, Lucchini, man, look, to this day, Lucchini does it for me. You hear me? I rocks Lucchini on a regular basis. They grown men now, but in 94, 95, they were some young Thundercats. And them young Thundercats dropped some heat. They was old school 70s dudes hitting you with new millennium style bars, man. What you think about Camp Lo?
Camp Lo Lucchini, man. I that has always been one of my favorites. But no, I'm with you, man. They were like raw, hard.
Yeah.
It just kind of a grimy sound. And I can see why they stayed niche. But they were good, man. I love me some Camp Lo.
Yeah, nice little even flow, man. Camp Lo for me was it, for sure. What about you, man? I know you got something in the booth. I know you got something in the crates.
I do, man, and I wanted to start with one of my favorites. I didn't pick the whole group. I'm just going to pick my favorite out of the group, and that's Fat Lip from the Pharcyde. Look, man, you know what I'm saying? The Pharcyde, not only were they just a straight up true hip hop group, they were a fun group. And I've talked about this before. Like, they did serious music. Like, don't get me wrong, they got into politics.
For sure.
But they also gave you songs to just ride to and feel good about. I mean, they gave you songs like Runnin' to make you think about things, but they also gave you other hits to just to vibe to, man, just to have fun to. And it was nice that they had so much diversity as a group to be able to do so many different things. They would lean on different members of the group at different times. And that gave them a very versatile sound. And like I think we said in the albums tournament, the Bizarre Ride 2, it was hard to say goodbye to it. But man, that was such a classic album.
Classic.
How about you? Were you a Pharcyde fan?
Man, was I. But I'm glad you singled out Fat Lip, because if you go back to some of their earlier work from Bizarre Ride, he has some of the most iconic like verses on some of their biggest songs. And he had a very distinctive voice. Love Fat Lip, man. Shout out to Pharcyde, for real. Love that.
Yeah, what else you got over there, man?
Hey, man.
For the underrated rap legends of the 90s.
I'm gonna hit you in the fields with this one. I'm gonna hit you in the field. I'm going West Coast, but I'm gonna hit you in the fields with this one, because I had to mention him because we talk around him a lot, but we don't really give him the love he deserves. So I'm gonna go with none other than Mr. DJ Quik.
Boing.
The Spring. Anybody that know Quik's production, The Spring, but let's not sleep on the artist. That first album, for that to be a debut album, was fire. And you understand, the man did everything on his own on that album. He produced it, he edited it, he did all the lyrics. And I think maybe 1 or 2 features only on that album, if I'm not mistaken. If you wasn't rocking Tonight, you lying. Right? I mean, if you wasn't getting ready to go do whatever decadence and debauchery you was thinking about doing that evening, and you wasn't listening to Tonight in the 90s, you lying. That's how we all got ready.
If you weren't ironing your shirt in the
Yes.
middle of the room with that
Tonight,
blasting,
you was lying, because that's how we all got ready, right? We did that for real. As soon as they come, we doing the same old tonight. Man, y'all don't understand. Y'all don't understand at all.
hey, I stay with you on Quik, man, because we talked about this in another episode, but Quik had one of the hardest and most disrespectful ever diss songs. He went off the edge on that song.
Yeah, he meant
there-
that. He
there
left
are
out the
things
G because the G ain't in it. Like,
Speaking of that, that is a perfect transition because I'm gonna stay on the West Coast for
okay,
another
talk to me.
rap icon that leads right into that because it is indeed MC8.
Gia.
Look, man, MC8 and Compton's Most Wanted. All right, they had a very specific sound.
Yes.
They did a very specific thing, but they did it really well. Album after album, I relate it to like Paul Wall's catalog. Like
Good
album
example.
after album, there wasn't a huge variation in what they did. Like they had their sound and they stuck to it. They found their groove and they dug down in it. But man, MC8 had bars
He
every
had
now and
bars.
again. Man,
Yeah.
he could get a little corny and that's fine, whatever. And maybe he bit off a little bit more than he could chew when he went at Quik about the khaki bikini. But
That was personal.
that was
It was
you should have just let that one go.
Yeah, I should have let it go.
You shouldn't have said that. But he had bars, man. He had a nice, good West Coast flow. He had a cool voice to go with it. His cadence was slow and easy. He always found the right beats that fit his flow, too. That was another good thing about him was when he picked his beats out, his production always fit his flow really well. So he could show off that real kind of like smooth cadence. I really like me some MC8.
Yes, for sure. For sure. I'm going to break. First of all, just for those of you, if you never heard the show, it's a song with Spice One featuring MC8. If you want to know MC8's true measure of his lyrical ability, go listen to the song show with him and Spice One. Eiht lets it happen. Now, I still believe Spice has the best verse on the song, but he understood the assignment. It is his song, and so he ended the song with his, what I believe, the best verse on the song, but they had two verses apart. Let me just tell you. Hey, Eiht was right there with it. So kudos to that. I'm gonna hit you one more time though. I'm gonna hit you with a not so popular opinion, but we've actually discussed this person on the show also. So I'm gonna start with the words allegedly. Someone who has allegedly ghostwritten for Jay-Z, none other than Sauce Money.
Oh,
Right. Sauce Money, man, it's Sauce Money, J-Rock, J.R. Ryder. These are some of the guys that vocally, it doesn't come across from them, but the pen games are ridiculous. And Sauce Money on The City Is Mine, that's all I'm gonna say. On Jay-Z's song, The City Is Mine. Allegedly, Sauce wrote the whole joint. Allegedly. But the verse he did still was fire. And I know how you feel about Sauce. If Camo was here, I know how Camo feels about Sauce. Talk to me about Sauce Money, man.
Somewhere Camo was just like, he was like, Sauce Money? No, I agree with you completely, man. Sauce has my favorite verse on Reservoir Dogs, which is one of my favorite posse cuts. Yeah, and he just goes absolutely nuts on his features. Here's one thing I'll say too about Middle Finger U. When it came out, I think a lot of people said that they didn't like it. But to me,
I agree. I agree with that. A lot of people.
To me, that album aged really well because I listened to it not too long ago, and it is not an album that I was like, oh, this is trash, man. Yeah, I agree with everybody. I'm not saying it was a classic or anything like that, but I didn't see that big of an issue with that album. So he had some problems with his production, with some of the song making, yeah, but so do a lot of rappers, man. Like, I'm not saying he's God tier, but he's not trash.
I don't think we were mature enough to accept that album at the time it came out. I believe that album came out in 2005. or even 2010, the album would have been received totally different. I believe, and again, I'm not saying it's a classic, I'm not saying it's top 5, but what I am saying is, had that album been released at another time, when people of our cloth, and I'm not trying to shame anybody, I'm just saying age-wise, when people of our cloth would have been more mature in hip-hop. Because understand, when that dropped, hip-hop was still new. We wasn't even 20 yet. We were still young, acting a fool. Had that been 10 more years after, we would have really got to appreciate it, because we would have actually broken down the production and separated the production from the bars and gave him his credit from the bars. That's what I believe.
And one thing that is fun to say about being this age is we are basically the same age as hip hop. So as hip hop fans, when we say we were thinking, that's pretty much what we were thinking at the time, because there was no group that was above us. There were no old heads to talk to us when we were 20 about hip hop.
Not at all. Not at all.
All right. So I got one more for you, man. Actually, I had a reserve. I had a reserve because Sauce Money was also one of mine.
Okay.
But I got one. Here is one that you and I have talked about a long time offline and never been able to find a place to mention his name. Definitely from the early 90s, but a rapper out of New Rochelle, New York, called Grand Puba.
What goes around comes back around again. What's the one himself? Yes. Shout out Grand Puba. Shout out Brand Nubian. Shout out. Yes.
Big kids don't play. You know what I'm saying? Check the resume.
First of all, again, it's one of those things. If you weren't going to meet a female, going to the club, and these words didn't resonate in your ear, you lying. I'll be Puba on this here, a brother from last year, Jabos hanging baggy, Tommy Hilfiger tap gear. Right?
Yes.
Well,
even the clothes speak to the era.
Hey, look, Tommy Hilfigers, Jabos, that's Brand Nubian. That's Grand Puba. Like, I was a skinny dude in the early 90s, which I am not now, but I was a skinny dude in the early 90s. But if you are a thicker brother, you were of the thicker shade, you dressed like Puba. The Timbs, one jean leg tag, you had the Jabos match one of the stripe colors of your Tommy Hilfiger shirt. Like you was that dude. You had the little swatch watch. You was doing the things, right? Shout out, man. That's a good one. That's good
right.
one.
I know a lot of y'all aren't going to know who that is, but please do yourself a favor. Check that out. Just put his name in on Spotify and listen to his top 10.
And let it happen.
I swear I promise you it'll be a fun experience, man. Check out Grand Puba. Go as deep and go to Brand Nubian. Take it as deep as you want to. It's a lot of fun, man.
Definitely check out Brand Nubian. Slow down.
Yeah, when you're talking about hip hop, that is hip hop. That is finest.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that is this episode of Grown Man Bars. BA, appreciate you for kicking it with me, man. And to the rest of y'all, appreciate y'all for kicking it with us, man. Check us out next time. Don't forget to smash that like and subscribe. And we out.